I love that.
I look really tired. I'm sorry.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, witches.
How are you tonight? We were just going over everything that we were going to go over. And it's always a pleasant surprise to see how we look on camera because you don't get a preview before you start your YouTube lives.
So we're like, where are we? Where is everything? Are the lights out?
It's so fun to be surprised.
It is fun to be surprised.
It is, yes. If you're new here, I'm Jamie. This is Kat. I am her daughter, but I am also her spiritual teacher in some ways, her witch teacher.
Absolutely.
And tonight we are going over some Q&A, but also explaining in more detail some stuff from our Monday night lesson, which was over spirit guides, and things that we thought that like maybe didn't get explained enough, or really to give you guys resources so that you can go on your own journey. And Kat's going to talk a little bit about her book that she's into right now that is giving her a lot of answers. Filling in a lot of filling in a lot of spaces. So it's like there was this empty glass that had a bunch of stones in it, and there's space, and then there was a little bit of water that was poured in it and filled up. But now that I'm reading this book, like all the space is filling up with all of this information, because you guys, I'm telling you. Now, I'm not going to tell you a book to read, but I just discovered this, and this is a really phenomenal book about spirits on the other side, the experience of it. It's just like, it's wow. It's totally wow. Well, what I like that the book says is, it has the main title, Journey of Souls, but the underneath is case studies of life between lives. So
life between lives.
Like, what are we doing after we cross over?
I'm going to do a book review on this. So I don't want to give too much of it away because I love it so much. I just want to share it and give you the highlights of it. But there's so much good. This case studies are short. There's 29 of them in this book. So that tells you how short they are because it's not a super long book. And the case studies are people who have passed over, lived other lives, gone under hypnosis, and this PhD, I guess he's a doctor, Michael Newton, who wrote the book, he discovers that they've got, this whole thing, it's like they thought it was going to go back to past lives. They do go back to past lives, but then what they also delve into, these folks that are hypnotized, is the time between the lives. So when they're before they come back and reincarnate. So you learn all of these things about what it's like over there. And then you can start to understand your spirit guides. So it's I'm pretty excited about it because I just found it. And,
it's her filling in the gaps. Because I think that for our whole lives, even before you knew we were all witches, we always believed in reincarnation. It was like, it just didn't seem like we die and we either go to heaven or hell in the teaching of like the modern day. We were like, that just seems like a huge waste to like, what's the purpose of that? How does that have any bigger meaning? So we've pretty much always believed in reincarnation, but this goes into really describing things about it and in between and the next life and previous lives and all of that.
And here's something for you to think about. So if you've ever wondered, like what's out in all the galaxies and all the systems that are, like how big is the universe and how many universes are there really? This book will take you there. So some of it will take you there. You will understand. One day I got to think, it's like, gosh, we can't be the only ones. We cannot be, this can't be the only place. So they're out there.
I just want to say hi to Selena and Tracy. And Tracy, we will see you later. I understand what's going on. So I totally get it. When you're listening to this later, let us know what you think. So the reason that we brought up the book is because we wanted to let you know that these resources are in the description of this video. And I think that more than anything, I could sit here and tell you guys a ton of stuff, but truly the growth comes when you experience the aha moments in your spirituality or in your journey or in your witchcraft journey for yourself. When you're totally immersed in a subject or doing something and then things click for you, that feels like leveling up. At least for me, that's what it's always felt like, is when I'm researching something and I'm just on my own. And maybe sometimes it is watching a video or, a movie and things click. And then it just feels like you leveled up. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm on a whole new level now. Like, I get it. I'm here. I've arrived. And then you just keep going into that subject because it helps you grow and get better at something, whatever it is that you're looking into. And I can't tell you how many times I've done that with different subjects that relate to witchcraft or metaphysical stuff, the afterlife, mediumship, psychic things, all of that. Quantum physics. Oh my gosh, don't.
Yeah.
So that's probably one thing we haven't really put in here too much lately is the quantum world that could really help explain the spiritual world. And I'm not sure how much the two have meshed together yet, but I see it and feel it coming soon. Like proven studies or proven experiments that show you like how things go. They can already prove that thought exists in the waves between humans, like they can measure that. So I'm sure that it's not long before we can communicate with the other side sort of in waves, or at least see it happening.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that came across sort of or came into our world this week was I stopped at Books A Million last night, and I was looking for a book, and it was actually this book because this is Jamie's copy. I always have to have my own, so I was there looking for that book, for this book, and I was in the section of health, spirit, mind, and body, or something like mind, body, spirit. That's what it was. And there's a whole section of witchcraft and magic. And I was like, oh my God, witches, we're mainstream now because we actually have our own section at the bookstore. So what we were talking about was like 25 years ago when Jamie started, information was hard to come by. And now in the last, I would say probably 10 years,
at least 10 years, yeah.
There's an abundance of information and it is everywhere. And it can seem overwhelming, but I guess you just like pick something that you're maybe drawn to or that you hear recommendations from other people, or something that you want to personally explore. Like for me, I was raised Catholic, so I'm always going to be a recovering Catholic for the rest of my life. So I'm sort of looking for that fill-in thing. I think part of the draw of witchcraft for me was like, where's that spiritual side of my life? I need that. I realized finally that I needed that in my life and wanted that in my life. And so what is the draw for you to witchcraft? Find a book that talks about that and read it or listen to it on audiobook. Love listening to audiobooks. Are great for gardening or walking or whatever audiobooks are like the best. And then go there and see what you can get from it.
I love that you can go there with all this information, and there are some books that definitely repeat information. You're like, okay, I have a book that already says that. But the viewpoints and the different perspectives on practicing witchcraft or connecting with the other side. There are so many people out there trying to build tools, free tools, things that you do not have to pay for online, on YouTube, wherever, that they're just trying to help people find comfort and connection in the life that they lead today. And I think that's purpose. It's still such a huge draw for me on why Kat and I do this, because we really want to help people, like whatever sign it is, if we can help facilitate that, because it's not us doing it. Like I believe that, spirit talks through me or has me say things that just click with some people. And I'm like, I didn't know that was going to click. I just said it. And when those things happen, like I said, you level up once you know something more, once you've affirmed something that you've always thought, and you find out like, holy shit, I was right. Like that feeling has been right this whole time. And you may have had people all around you saying, no, don't do that. Don't get into that. Like, oh, that's scary. That was the other thing we were going to mention. The fear stuff.
Oh yeah. That was the other thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cause we follow, as a business page, we follow some of the other pages that are pretty big into witchcraft, and we read through posts. I wouldn't even say often. I would say maybe once a week. Randomly.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that we see that comes on there, it's like, what is the, what's the purpose behind putting fear in people's heads when they're exploring spirituality, when they're trying to discover something that is pure love? Like when you get into your spiritual side, it all ends in just loving everything that's going on and having gratitude for your experience. And we see a lot of fear-based posts. We see people
questions,
answering in fear things like, oh, you got to be careful if you do it this way. You might invite a bad spirit. And I'm like, it's something that you do have to decide for yourself. I decided a very, very long time ago that in my personal opinion, there are not bad spirits on the other side. What would be the point of that? Why would we why would that carry over? Like, if Earth is the classroom for spirits and we have people trying to help us reach our highest path here, why on the other side would we have a bunch of spirits that are malicious trying to bring bad things in?
Well, so I can share a little bit of knowledge from this book that I've been listening to on that subject.
It says that? Hey.
Well, it's not, they don't call them bad spirits. So it's not bad spirits, but we do know, as people who've lived on this earth, there are bad people here. There are people who do bad things, have harmed a lot of people.
Yes.
You can think of any,
we don't have to say any names.
We don't have to say any names, but people
there's
who've done really horrible things, who were really awful human beings and hurt a lot of people when we're here. When those souls get to the other side, they're sort of separate. So they have a lot of growth and they're kept separate from the other souls who didn't do those type of things. So they're not bad, but they're worked with. And so some of the older like sages who have been reincarnated like for long time, and they don't come back to earth anymore. They're there as teachers. And so what they try to do is help. And I know I was listening to the chapter and then I think I fell asleep, but it was like, sometimes they can't be saved. And I think there is a sort of like, but they're not coming back here and doing harm to people.
They're not torturing people from the other side.
That's not, they're not like,
it's not Ouija board stuff.
It's not Ouija board stuff. Now, there are people, and this book talks about that as well, who get stuck here. And those people do sort of, when you hear about ghosts or you see ghosts, you've gone to a haunted place and there's paranormal activity. Some spirits do get stuck here, not forever, but for a period of time. And that's all. I just know that we talked about that, or he talked about it, but I don't have all the facts like memorized yet.
She's not ready to teach a lesson on that.
I'm not ready to teach a lesson or talk about it yet, but I am going to. But it was just fascinating to hear, because I know when you think about like, okay, so we die, then we go to the other side and we're all spirits. So we're all treated exactly the same when, you got people that are just really bad people. And then you've got people that there's young spirits that haven't lived very many lives. And, no, it's different. There's like a hierarchy, a level, although they don't call it that. They're very like, we don't think of it like that, the spirits. But what's the interesting thing is like the very new spirits, they're almost white with a very like the color. So everything's in color there. It's not like people like vibration. Us. Yeah. So it's not, so very new spirits are like, they're white with maybe a tinge of yellow. And then as they get more knowledge and then they grow, their color starts to change till, when you're at your very highest, guess what color you are? Purple. Yes. Yes, I was like, oh my God, it lines up with the chakra. I was like, listen, I got goosebumps when I was like, it's just like, oh my God, it all lines up. I was like, oh, this is why I'm like blown away by this book. So that was in there about the bad spirits, but they're not coming here and haunting. Anyway, back to the fear stuff.
Or doing bad things to people.
And some things, you guys, that you might be seeing as a brand new witch seem rather kind of silly.
We're going to confirm that we think a lot of the things that people put out there are also quite silly.
And if you think that, go with your gut and move on from that and don't give it attention.
Well, what I think it is like people. Thank you, Tank.
Oh, it's my Amazon order.
Oh man, Amazon's delivering.
Amazon's delivering and.
Tank's letting us know somebody's at the door.
It's my dress for the wedding next week. Uh-oh, so sorry.
Tankers. Come here, you're a good boy. Okay, thanks.
Sorry about that.
Come here, say hi. Hi, come here. You want to show your pretty face? Come here. He's a super handsome dog. He's probably too scared now.
No, I'm not getting married. My daughter's getting married. My other daughter's getting married.
We're saying that online now? Okay. It was we've been holding it a secret just a little bit.
I didn't know it was a secret.
Now it's weird to say.
Okay. But so the youngest one's getting married. And, all right. Jamie's getting ready to take care of it. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to carry on about this book, but I just thought it was really fascinating. And I think one of the things I saw recently in a group was there's some kind of a cleanse. Maybe you guys have heard about this. Some kind of a cleansing with an egg where you like drop an egg into water or something, and then you like read it for negative energy. And I'm like, what? That just is, I mean, thank you so much. for the congratulations. That's my last kid and finally getting her married. So then they're all three married. Yay!
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. We'll just leave that right there. When she watches this later, she's going to be surprised.
She's not going to watch it. She's going to be too busy being married.
That's true. Lots to do between now and then.
Anyway, so this egg thing, I was like, and so what did you saw it also?
Yes. So the practices can come from lots of different backgrounds of, I don't want to bring in hoodoo or voodoo type stuff, but we are a blend of people doing different things and superstitions as well. And so as these things enter mainstream and people are like, this is witchcraft, it's like, oh, okay. And that's fine that people call it that, but it comes from different sectors or sections or people's
histories.
Or, I want to say cultures, but see, I've not even researched it that much because the moment that I saw it, I was like, well, that's just silly and wasteful to me, in my opinion. Other people might think that burning white sage is a terrible crime against Native Americans. So as we build our practices, you're building your beliefs. And this is kind of where we get into, like, I think Kat was saying in the beginning, trust your gut. If you see something, you're like, what? Why would we be doing that? You don't need to do all the things that people put out there and everything that you read in a book. This was where we're really trying to hone into. You're going to read stuff and your gut's going to be like, this is totally for me. Or the other side of you is going to be like, I don't know what the hell this person's talking about. This book doesn't connect with me at all. I didn't like it. I need to find something else.
Yeah.
And that is perfect.
That's journey.
Perfect. That's it. Do that.
That's where you want to go.
Go with your gut on those things. As you see stuff that really makes you go, where are we living? We are not in Hollywood. A lot of witchcraft to me that people put out there feels like they're it feels like attention getting to be different, to do something, say something different. It's like, well, you can only reinvent this so many different ways. And
well, something I see also is people digging up things from like some really old ritual type things where I don't even know if this stuff is real, but like maybe something that the Celts did when, we were pretty uncivilized. So witchcraft, for me, this is very simple. It's all,
we're modern witches. Yeah. So it's not the same thing as being a witch that was, 600 to even. Witchcraft goes way, 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 way back. Like if you connect it all the way to the ancient cultures throughout Europe and the different ways that they show deities, and there's like artifacts from that, you've got like 12,000 to 25,000 years ago that they find things where this would have been an earth-based religion thing, practicing culture, right? Like that's all they knew to do. So in the modern day of witchcraft, that's what we're considered, an earth-based practice. So whatever that means for people. So however you want to use the earth elements to incorporate it into your practice. But if we're modern ones, we do not have to use things that are from the past. We have a choice to do things in a more humane way, safe way, less wasteful. If we go back to those old practices, what's to say that that's better for the environment, the animal, the people, whoever, and these are all choices that you have to make as you discover things.
Well,
it's a big topic trying to put it into like 3 minutes.
And some of them just are like, why would you, I don't know. Why would you want to do something like they did it like 2,000 years ago when it doesn't really make any sense for us today in the 21st century?
I always think that my degree is in psychology, guys. So this is what I always go back to when I can't understand humans' behaviors.
My degree's in life.
Her degree is in knowing how to get people to look at stuff. She has a degree in marketing. Okay, she knows things. But as you come across people that are trying to do things that have so much mystery around them, occult, the word means shrouded in mysteries, right? So the more things that we do that can't be explained, people are like, it's witchcraft, or some shit. And you're like, okay, can we get back to like, what are we really trying to do here? And why people want to, crack an egg in a jar and be like, what does this mean? I don't know. What's it mean to you? What do you think it means?
Yeah. And then ask everybody.
And then post it.
And then ask like 500 people.
Because then it's drama.
100,000 people.
Oh my God, look at my egg. It's got these many spikes. I have evil spirits in my house. Somebody come help me. I don't know. That's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to make fun of people for believing what they believe. I'm just saying that if it doesn't hit with you, just leave it. Just walk away. Be like, okay, well,
or if somebody's telling you something that's based in fear, like don't do this because you're going to invite evil spirits. If you believe it, it is so. That's all I can tell you.
So what we literally said before this meetup, and I didn't write it down, but now I remembered. How many minutes into this? 20 minutes into this. I just went out.
I said
no. It's about the negativity. Oh, instead of trying to get an egg and see if there's negative things in your space and clearing negative areas of your home, clear the negativity in your mind first. Let's work on being free of the negative things that hold us back, that fear things that we don't understand, which is why you would follow some random egg experiment on the internet in the first place, because you're afraid you don't know something and you're trying to find that something out.
Yeah.
Do it in a different way. Go to printed books that actually have to get approved by a group of people, that it's not horse shit, and that can say, all right, this seems like something that the public could actually make use of. Because books do have to be reviewed. I mean, you can self-publish, but if you buy anything from Llewellyn, there are teams of people fact-checking, looking at things, making sure that somebody's not coming up with some bizarre stuff to put into a book that has no credibility. Publishers need to know that the books that they publish are credible in some aspects. And there has to be proof around that, whether it's family origin stories and traditions, like looking at the lifestyle, old printed material, whatever it is, true experiences that people say, I had this experience, because you can't technically say they didn't. I mean, you could, but if you're going to publish a book about their story, you have to believe their story. So that's why I turn more towards books and not necessarily the social media stuff. It's why you guys don't see me having a big social media presence, because I'm like, what is the point? To confuse people more, to give them more things to look up and wonder about? Like, how about just helpful, simple things? And a lot of that really does start with our mind and how we carry ourselves, what we allow in our environment. If your environment is chaotic and you've got clutter and old broken stuff and and you're not taking care of things. Murder shows on.
Murder shows running on your TV 24/7. Yeah.
What the ultimate thing that you can trace back to is what you think about, you bring about. So these people doing fear type experiments or questions that's what lives in their head. Fear lives in their head, and they want to get rid of it, but they're just going after more fear methods to almost reinforce it, because they don't know how to not have the drama. One of the hardest things, if you grew up in a household or in places where it was always stuff going on, like things to worry about, always worry. If you become an adult and you're successful and you don't have anything to really worry about, you're going to create worries in your own life, because that is where you live comfortably in chaos. Breaking free from that and just being able to chill and like everything is okay and I'm okay with that. I don't have to have something turning and moving and going to be thinking about in order to feel secure. That's our
normal
monkey chatter brain that's like, think about things, survive. It's too turned on.
Well, and I think the other thing to remember, to put this into context, is to remember that fear is a very low vibration emotion space.
Going back to spirit guides.
Yes. So when you're in a fear mindset, you're, on the pyramid of vibrational pyramid. I think it shows in a pyramid.
Yep.
Fear is right down at the bottom. I mean, it's a very base emotion, just like anger. So as you start elevating yourself up out of that, then you get into these other places where you're in your heart chakra and your throat chakra, and eventually, your third eye, and what did I miss? Crown. Yeah. And that's where, for me anyway, that's what this journey is about. It's about getting to that place of that higher vibrational level, because when you're there, you're not living in fear, you're living in love, you're sharing kindness, you're being a good steward of the world and the people around you and the animals and the plants and all of that stuff. And to me, that's what this journey is about. And I don't know if that is for you. If it's not,
this is why you gotta build your beliefs. I hope
that you do try to work toward that, because that's where the peace is, and that's where the yeah, that's where the peace is
And if you find yourself
in this crazy ass world that we live in.
Crazy. And listen, if you want to find bad stuff, it's there. You can find it.
Yeah.
If you look for something to reaffirm your fear, you'll find it. It's out there. But if you don't want to be in that sector and you do want to calm your anxieties and not worry so much, the best way to do that is to try to create a feeling of gratitude within your body. And the way that you can do that is to have a very short list of things that you are really, really grateful for. And that can just be like that you have a house to live in, you know, that you have a steady job, or that your bills are always paid at the end of the month. But find something that when you say it, you're like, oh, that does feel like a really good relief, because then that's gratitude.
I really love my house that I live in now. I moved from Kansas City almost 4 years ago.
I
have this little 2-bedroom house, and there's all these plants and everything in my yard. I really am grateful to have this house and to be here with my family. So that's something that I think about. I was like, I walk around here, I'm like,
the gratitude of your home.
Yeah, like, I really love it.
And when you do that, really love it. Can you literally feel like the swell of emotion?
I feel the lightness. Yes, absolutely.
And I feel builds in your body.
I feel the lightness from it too. Yeah. You know, that I'm just like, wow, that's such a light place to be in.
So to move from fear into gratitude, just have a very small list. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be everything in your life, and it can be whatever you think of in that moment. But as soon as you recognize yourself being fearful of something, real or pretend, go to a place of gratitude. Switch that vibration, because remember, what you think about, you bring about. So if you are on a fear vibrational level, fear from somewhere else is going to hit you as well. You know, I have a story from many moons ago now that driving gave me a lot of anxiety, because I always was anticipating a car accident, and I realized that I was going to cause a car accident. I was going to draw that situation to me because I thought about it so much. And although I was thinking like, don't have a car accident, the universe doesn't work in negatives. It's just like car accident, car accident, car accident. I was like, so I had to make myself mantra cards that every time I would have anxiety, I started repeating things to myself. And sometimes I would be driving just like white knuckled, eyes wide, repeating the 4 things that I wrote down. But eventually that it really did go away from me. I remember the first time that I was like, wow, I didn't have any anxiety and I just drove from here to work. And I'm like, that's wild. And so it just works to bring in a different mind, right? Like take out the fear mind, throw that away, like disregard it, be like, I don't want you here. And then bring in something that's like gratitude, love, think of anything happy, play a memory, have a photo up that makes you smile every time you see it, something to draw your mind out of that fear reaction or that fear.
And Jamie did this with a car, you know, and driving with a car, but you can literally use that same thing with anything in your life, where anything around that
causes you stress, that
causes you to be anxious and to worry, because that's
having the worry.
Yeah, because you know that's the kind of thing that we want to try to. It doesn't help us. It's low vibration. It doesn't serve us.
It doesn't serve us. It shuts down gifts from the universe. Like when we're in a low vibration, it shuts things down.
Right. And if you're wanting to connect with spirit guides and you wanting to get messages from the other side, you're going to need to raise your vibration out of those very low level fear, anger.
Yeah, because they can't get through to that, because they can't match that vibration. Like it's impossible for them to come down to that. That's an earth thing. That's why we're here in the classroom, so that we can get here. Maybe start low, maybe not, maybe start high, go low, come back high, whatever our journey is. But in order for the spirit guides to get through to us, we got to be at a level above all of that. You know, it doesn't have to be like ultimate joy, like enlightened as hell, but it has to be above fear, anxiety, stress.
I have to tell you something. I just have to tell you something, because, you know, listening to this book, I was telling you guys about the colors of our energy, our spirit energy on the other side, and how these people who'd gone under and talked about these lives, the in-between lives. And as I was listening to it and listening to the colors and them describing, you know, well, that's a teacher and that's a this, that's a sage. That person, she's, you know, I can't remember the name. It was like an old name. She's been around for 30,000 years and she's like way up there and elevated. And I thought to myself, I was like, my daughter on the other side, I bet is blue. That's what I bet her color is.
Me?
Because I feel like she's been around for like a long time, had a lot of lives, because she's just super knowledgeable and also very
Are you making me blush?
very patient and loving and giving with people. And then me, I'm white. I'm pretty white. It's just I'm white with just maybe a speck, a little bit of yellow, because I feel like I wonder how many times have I done this, because I spent a whole lot of this one like screwing up. So I mean, I'm just now finally feel like I'm getting to this elevated space where before it was like, yeah, I had some more serious work to do.
Living in some base level emotions.
Definitely had some growing to do. And it took me like a long time to get there. And, I'm 64. My daughter's like 40 something, anyway, early 40s. 42. So, and she's been this way. When I say this way, kind of like this peaceful. So anyway, I just want to share that.
How long have I been this way? How long have I been peaceful?
You were.
She used to tell me that I was like a really content kid.
She was a content baby. She was just a baby. Yeah. When she was just 18 months old, she would sit and play with her dolls all by herself. Like none of my other kids did that. She could play for hours.
I was playing with spirits probably.
She was happy. She was just always happy. And the other two were like, if they didn't have something to occupy them, after 3 minutes, they were causing trouble, fighting with each other or bothering me or whatever, So anyway, sorry, I got off track there.
No,
but I had to tell you about
interesting to think about the colors and then
the colors. So even you could think of your own self. In fact, you could think of because you are a spirit, a soul. How do I say it? You're a soul, your spirit having a human experience.
Yeah, your soul.
So where would you, if you knew that the brand new spirits or the very young spirits would be like white with maybe it's a little bit of yellow, and then the colors gradually change as they get more experience and more elevated, where would you put yourself? Where would you put yourself?
Such a good question.
And then where would you like to be?
Where do you want to get to?
Yeah. So you can sort of think of it in those terms. So
anyway. I love that. Well, now I have to finish the book. I only got into 2 chapters and then got preoccupied.
I actually have one coming tomorrow, so you can take it on.
No, I have it on audiobook. I've actually had it on audiobook for over a year.
Oh, you have to listen to it.
I know. I'm going to. Oh my
gosh.
So you guys, we are getting ready to sign off. This is our last scheduled live. It's our last scheduled meetup, anything right now. We're just taking a little break, small break. We do have a wedding coming up, but Kat and I are discussing doing different lives on Thursday. And really one of the things that we talked about doing was all of the BS that we see on.
So we're starting to see a lot of it.
I just, if you guys are seeing those same things, I'm like, back in the day when I had no information, that actually felt a lot better than being bombarded with all the extra drama BS that's out there right now. I was like, I don't know. I think I still prefer to learn when there was just limited information so I could make up my own mind about things. But now you see so much that it influences you, and it's probably a lot harder. So if you think that we should do some lives talking about the BS that we see about witchcraft online, let us know in the comments or shoot us an email at 7greensisters@gmail.com.
Or if you want us to talk about something else in a live.
Any ideas,
because we're thinking about doing
doing lives.
Just doing lives, because we're, for the summer, we're going to be working on whatever we're going to be doing in the fall. We're working on fall stuff, and so we need some downtime for that. But we do want to stay connected, and we would love to know what you want to hear about from us. Definitely. So because we can meet here every Thursday night for an hour and talk about whatever. So
an hour feels long, but
an hour feels long if it doesn't go that long. Sometimes 30 minutes. Sometimes we go for an hour easily, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We both like to talk.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we hope that we hear something from you in the comments. If not, we're just going to go about doing what we always do. We're just trying to provide you with solid information, to help you become your highest self and to get to that blue purple color as a spirit.
Ooh, so what's great is that I just changed the heading, and it's like a motto almost, but I put Witchcraft Simplified.
Ooh.
So we're looking at simplifying witchcraft for you guys, not making it complicated.
I almost feel bad for some of the people. I feel like maybe, and I don't have anything to base this on other than just kind of gut instinct, But what I feel like is witchcraft has become so popular, and there's so much that a lot of people are being drawn to it,
Yeah.
but they're not really sure why they're drawn to it. So they're not
Yeah.
sure what their purpose is, and they're searching, and consequently they're getting exposed to a lot of junk because they're trying to figure out their path. They're not like, well, witchcraft's a thing, so yeah, I'm going to get into it. And then there's like all this stuff. And then how do you sort through it? And you're not really sure where to go, where to turn. The whole reason why we started.
How to start, where to start,
and what to believe. So you just sort of get sucked in. So that's kind of what
our direction.
My gut says is that just because there's so much information out there and so many people being drawn to this, that invites more people to put more stuff so that they can get clicks and they can get people talking, because that's sometimes what people really want to do on social media. That's the big thing, I guess. Not, I guess it is
that social,
right?
The social part of it.
Anyway, I'm rambling.
All
right, you guys. Thank you.
Yes, we will see you next time, even though we don't know when that is yet. But we will.
It won't be next Thursday because next week is the wedding, so it won't be next week.
Yeah, so roughly 2 weeks. But
2 weeks.
I'll keep everything updated on the YouTube channel. We have like the community post stuff. That's where I'm gonna keep everything going and schedule it out. So if you subscribe to this channel, which sounds really weird, I've never said that before. If you subscribe to this channel, then that's where you'll see it. Or if you just go check it, I'm pretty sure it's still there if you just check it.
All right.
I don't know what that looks like. Okay. We'll see you next time for the next lesson. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Bye.